changed.
Yeah, I just turned around and made sure he didn't say shut the up to you.
If you would have told me that that was going to happen last night, I would have been like, whoa.
After staying completely quiet for months, married to medicine star Quad Webb has finally decided it's time to speak up, and she's not holding anything back. In a bold and emotional statement, Quad opened up about her ex-husband, Dr. Gregory Lunsford, his new wife, who goes by the name Sweet Tea, and everything that has gone down behind closed doors. Quad made it very clear that she's done staying quiet while people twist her story and paint her in a negative light. She's not here to play nice anymore, especially when it comes to her name and her truth. For a long time, people have been labeling Quad as the villain, calling her difficult, dramatic, or just plain mean. But Quad is now saying that she's not the one who created the chaos, she just got tired of living in it. According to her, she left a marriage that was damaging and emotionally draining. She walked away not because she was angry or bitter, but because staying would have destroyed her peace. And now that others are trying to rewrite history, she's stepping in to correct the narrative.
Probably is a lot for him to see me being happy and have a handsome man who's young and strong. And should I not be allowed to say those things because my ex-husband is sitting here with his new wife? Nobody didn't have that type of grace for me when they was parading around.
Quad also made it clear that she didn't want to give any energy to her ex's new relationship. That's why she chose to remain silent for so long. She didn't want to get involved in whatever they had going on. But after being dragged into drama, she didn't ask for, especially after Sweet Tea's public meltdowns and wild accusations. Quad said enough is enough. She decided it was time to tell her side of the story, in her own words, once and for all. She reminded everyone that her marriage to Dr. G didn't fall apart because of little things like arguments or differences in opinion. According to Quad, the marriage ended due to years of emotional hurt, lack of support, and broken trust. She wasn't just unhappy, she was deeply wounded. And despite what people think, she's not holding on to resentment. She's actually grateful to be out of that situation. In her eyes, Sweet Tea didn't just marry a new man, she signed up for the very same dysfunction that Quad worked hard to leave behind. Now, let's switch gears and talk about a man who went by the name King in Atlanta. No, he wasn't a rapper or an athlete. His real name was Marquis Deshaun Brooks, but people just called him King. And when you hear that name, you might imagine someone who's powerful, rich, maybe even someone who walks with royalty-level confidence. That's exactly how King wanted to be seen. He showed up looking like he had endless money, always dressed sharp designer clothes, fresh sneakers, expensive watches. The kind of guy who looked like he had a personal stylist picking out his outfits. And the cars? Oh, he had cars for days. Matte black Porsches, brand new BMWs, G-Wagons, and more. It felt like every week he pulled up in a new ride, each more expensive than the last. But here's where things started to feel off. For someone who lived so loudly, nobody really knew what he actually did. If you asked around, people would say things like, he's got businesses, or he's in the auto game. Sometimes they just said, he's connected. But connected to what? No one could give a solid answer.
Oh, they said you're going to jail, baby. Why? Why would he do
What am I going to
that?
jail for?
No, don't try to put my
Yeah, I'm
baby
going
in
to jail for
jail.
an argument.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right.
That's done, honey. King called down to the police precinct, child. They said that was ridiculous, and they could not file any charges. So, people say anything. Don't, and y'all run with it. Don't run with it, baby.
Was
Gotta
I
check
banned
into
from
it.
the show?
So here's the thing in reference to the show. What happened with that after what we saw on the sandbar? My ex, his ego was stepped on, and so he wanted to get one up on us, and so he decided that he wanted to go to the network and complain and go to the police department and try to quote unquote file some charges. And so for the moment, until we were done investigating, they had said that King can film, but he could not film with the rest of the group at that time. But he could, of course, we have our own personal story, so he could continue to film with.
In a city like Atlanta, where appearances are everything, it's easy for someone like King to blend in. If you look like money and act like money, people usually don't ask too many questions. King was always in the VIP lounges, popping up at celebrity parties, and attending charity galas. He knew all the right people, knew how to charm a room, and never looked out of place. From the outside, he seemed perfect, but appearances can be misleading. And with King, the cracks in that image were there from the beginning. You just had to look closely. As time went on, King started spoiling Quad in ways that turned heads. We're talking designer handbags, expensive trips, and gifts that made people wonder where all that money was really coming from. Quad's social media started to reflect a softer life. She seemed peaceful, pampered, and fully enjoying this new chapter. And let's be real, after everything she had gone through, she deserved happiness. Nobody questioned that. But people close to her began to ask questions, not out of judgment, but out of curiosity. Where is all this coming from? Does he have a real job? What kind of business is he running? That's when things began to feel strange. No one could name a single business he owned. He didn't have a company listed online. There were no offices, no employees, nothing that pointed to a real source of income. Just more luxury, more gifts, and more flashy appearances. He kept showing up in high-end cars, each with temporary dealer tags that never seemed to change. It started to feel less like wealth and more like a performance. People online even gave him a nickname, Atlanta's Car Fairy. It was a joke at first, but things got serious fast. Some of those same cars were later identified by authorities during a major investigation. They weren't just flashy, they were stolen. And not just in Georgia. Some were traced back to other states, tied to a large-scale auto theft operation. To make things worse, several of the cars were spotted parked right outside Quad's home.
Teamwork makes the dream work, and in most cases it does.
But in this case,
It's gonna be some shit.
To her credit, Quad said she was told that King owned a private auto business. And if someone you love tells you they're successful, it's easy to take their word for it, especially if everything around you looks real. But behind the scenes, the truth was anything but. By the end of 2023, things took a sharp turn. Atlanta news outlets began reporting on a massive investigation into a high-level car theft operation. It involved stolen vehicles, fake vehicle identification numbers, VINs, and fraudulent car titles. This wasn't some small-time crime ring. It was structured, deliberate, and dangerous. Think Fast and Furious without the cool racing scenes, just a whole lot of jail time waiting at the end. Then, in early 2024, King was arrested. He wasn't just part of the ring, he was running it. The police had been watching him for months. They used security footage, GPS tracking, and fake documents to build their case. They even had photos of him driving the stolen vehicles, some of which had appeared on his social media accounts.
last night, I'm gonna let that shit slide, all right?
Okay.
You don't need to speak to her no more.
I don't want to speak to her no
All
more.
right, so don't let it happen, all right? And then we ain't gonna have no problems.
Listen,
All right?
tell her to stop saying the shit that she says.
No, she can say whatever she wanna say.
Not to me, though.
Hold on.
Not to me.
No, she said whatever she
To me.
wanna say.
How do you want me not to talk to her and then she can say shit to me?
I'm telling
Does that
you.
make sense to you?
If she says something to you, you address me. You don't speak to her.
Check ain't gonna let nothing pop out. No, but I just need you to stay with me. Shaq ain't finna let shit pop out.
You tell her. Don't be coming at me with the crazy shit.
I'm telling you.
And I would, if she come at
Hold
me
on,
with the
I'm
crazy shit,
hold on. I'm telling you some shit right now. I know about the past, right? I ain't gonna
you know
fight
her
the past.
side of the past.
Tell me something different then. Tell me something
You
different.
gonna find out.
Tell me something
You gonna
different.
find out.
You don't want to find out.
What don't I want to find out? Listen, I'm a doctor, bro. I ain't got time to be fighting with people who coming up to me talking, sitting there like they'll threat. I don't have time to fight you or anybody
I ain't
else.
making no threats.
Anybody
I ain't
else.
making no threats.
I just hope she takes
I
her
ain't making no threats.
I hope you sweep her off her feet.
I ain't
and
making no
sweep her
threats.
as far as you can sweep her, bro.
Bruh,
Look, I got no words for her.
I said one thing.
But tell her to stop saying shit
As long as
about
you
me.
ain't got no words, we good.
Man,
All
what,
right?
man? What,
All
man?
right?
Who you think you're
No,
talking to, bro?
man, I'm talking to you, motherfucker. What you gonna do? No, we don't need you in here.
I think you do it like that because I know how your girl is. So I figured you like that. I think you do. That's what you want to do. we talking about? That's how they roll. Oh, hell no.
The moment that news broke, everyone turned their attention to Quad. Was she involved? Did she know? Was she benefiting from his crimes? Some fans rushed to defend her. One person wrote, "Leave her alone. She's probably just as shocked as we are." But others weren't so kind. One commenter said, "There's no way she didn't know something. Come on." The accusations flew fast. People assumed that because she lived with him, she must have seen the signs, that she had to notice something was off. Critics argued that someone enjoying stolen wealth couldn't be totally innocent. But sometimes silence doesn't mean guilt. Sometimes it means shock, pain, embarrassment. Imagine trusting someone only to find out they were living a lie the whole time. For Quad, that's exactly what happened. After months of staying quiet while everyone else talked, Quad finally broke her silence. She went live on Instagram, and it wasn't polished or fancy. No makeup team, no perfect lighting, just Quad wearing a hoodie, no filter, and a shaky voice filled with emotion. She said something that stopped everyone in their tracks. "I loved a man I didn't really know." Those words hit home for a lot of people, because how many of us have been there? Thinking we know someone, trusting them completely, only to find out they've been hiding a whole other life? Quad didn't make excuses. She didn't point fingers. She owned her pain. She admitted she was ashamed and embarrassed, not just because of what happened, but because she let someone like that into her world. She called the situation what it was: betrayal. Not just a breakup, but a deep emotional betrayal that unfolded in front of the entire world. But the most important part? She firmly denied having any role in his criminal activity. And when you watched her speak, you could see the truth in her eyes, the pain in her voice, the confusion in her body language. This wasn't a rehearsed statement. It was a woman trying to process heartbreak in real time. Once King was sentenced, Quad wasted no time distancing herself. She unfollowed him on social media, deleted every picture of them together, took down any quotes or captions that hinted at their relationship. It was like he never existed in her digital life. People close to her say she's now focused on herself more than ever. She's healing, working on new projects, and spending time with her loved ones. She's not just recovering, she's reinventing herself. And honestly, it's inspiring. After everything she's been through, she's still standing tall, and she's doing it on her own terms. But there's one question that still won't go away, one that people can't stop asking. The internet hasn't stopped digging. Fans have gone full detective mode, analyzing old photos, zooming in on watches, matching car rims from Instagram videos to stolen car reports. Everyone's trying to figure out the same thing. Did Quad really not know? Some believe she was just blinded by love, that she wanted the fairy tale so badly she ignored all the red flags. Others think there's no way she missed the signs, that she had to know something wasn't right. And honestly, both sides have a point. When someone's showering you with gifts, telling you sweet things, and making life feel easy, it's hard to question them, especially if they're charming and confident. And let's be real, King was both. He knew how to play the part. But Quad's not defending him anymore. She's not making excuses. She's done. And whether people believe her or not, she's choosing to move forward. Quad Webb has been through a lot. A divorce that played out on national television. A relationship that ended in public scandal. Accusations, heartbreak, and betrayal. Any one of those things could have broken a person. But not her. She's standing in her truth, focusing on peace and putting herself first. And that's something we can all respect. So, what do you think? Was Quad just caught in a romance that went wrong? Or did she miss signs that were right in front of her? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're here for real stories, real emotions, and all the behind-the-scenes drama, go ahead and like, share, and hit that subscribe button. Catch y'all in the next one.